Hi everyone, happy weekend. Welcome back to Paulina's Global Flavors. I uploaded a shorts video the other night on how to make Khalah Bao. Khalah Bao is the Lao phrase for steamed sweet buns. Not dumplings, but buns, and we'll cover that later on in this video. And so we're gonna go ahead and get started. This is gonna be a quick video, unlike my 20-minute long video. Hopefully this will just last about 10 minutes or so. So let's bring you down to the counter and we'll get started. The next step is blooming the yeast. We're going to combine half a teaspoon of sugar in lukewarm water. We're going to stir that very well until the granules melt. And then we're going to put in a full teaspoon of dry yeast. This is active dry yeast. And we're going to stir that really well. Make sure that you stir in the side so no dry granules are sticking onto the side. Stir it really well, and then we're going to let this sit for 5 minutes. Now that my yeast-water-sugar mixture has been festering, we're going to go ahead and combine it with 1 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour. And then we're going to do a tablespoon of olive oil and also a tablespoon of sugar. So we're just going to dump the flour in a mixing bowl. We'll add the sugar, and then we'll do, of course, whoops, the lid popped off. 1 tablespoon of olive oil. We're going to pour all of this in. And then we can't forget my beautiful rubber gloves. Bing! All right, so we're just going to mix like that. You're going to mix and then you're going to knead. And we'll probably knead for about 5 minutes or so. And then we're going to let it sit covered for about 5 minutes. We'll knead for maybe 3 minutes longer, and then we're going to cover it with plastic wrap and then let it just rise, because this is with yeast, and so it will rise. We're going to let it rise until it doubles, and that would probably be about an hour or so. So this first round does not need to be perfect, so I think this is good. We're going to let it sit for 5 minutes, so it's just going to look like that, right? And then we're going to form it into, like a ball, like this. So, voila. And then it'll stay here for 5 minutes. We'll cover it with plastic wrap, and we'll knead again. I'm back. It's been a little over 5 minutes, so I lied. Maybe it's 6 minutes, maybe 7. So we're going to come back to the counter and knead this again. So you could see that it's now a little bit stickier. It's been sitting for 7-ish minutes, and we're just going to knead it for 3 minutes or so. Ooh, I'm really liking the feel of this. All right, it's been 3 minutes. I haven't really been counting, but it's been about 3 minutes. And we're going to form, but you could see how soft and smooth this is. So we're just gonna form the dough. It doesn't have to be perfect. Again, you just want to make sure it's well kneaded. Goes back in there, ta-da! And then plastic back on. Okay. I'm going to cover this And then stick this in a warm place, let it rise for about an hour, and we're gonna get ready and mix the protein mixture, which I've got pork and shrimp and tree ear mushrooms and sesame oil, white ground pepper, and it's gonna be so yummy. I've got dried tree ear mushrooms, and we're just gonna take not quite the handful, because keep in mind, these will double in size. So that's probably too much already. If you were to measure this out, it would probably be about a 1/4 cup of tree ear mushrooms. And I've got warm or hot water in here, just tap water, and we'll stick it in there like that, like that. Okay. And then we'll cover it so that way the moisture can seep back into the dried mushrooms and it'll expand. And then we'll just wait until the dough doubles, and right before that we'll get our meat mixture ready, because it needs to double for at least about an hour. So I went and checked to see if I had any shrimp, and I don't. So somehow I ate all the shrimp without remembering it. So we're going to improvise, and that's totally okay, because I eat a lot of protein and not enough vegetables, and this is my goal. Balance it out by eating a good portion of meats, because I'm a meatitarian, and also some vegetables as well, my favorite vegetables. So I have with me bok choy, and we're just gonna use the leafy greens as opposed to the stock, because the stock is filled with a lot of water, and I don't want that water to ooze out into my steamed Lao buns and have it be all messy when I go to eat it, because I don't like soggy bread. So here we go. Down at the counter, we've got ground pork. This is about 1/2 cup of ground pork, unseasoned ground pork right here. I've got about a teaspoon of dried chives or green onions, and obviously when it gets mixed with this, it's going to rehydrate. Yummy Chinese sweet sausages, which we'll cut up into little chunks. And then you'll see the tree ear mushrooms have doubled in size. Ta-da! And we'll just take it out of the water, pat it dry, and then we'll cut it up into little slices or little chunks. And then, oh, sesame oil. You've got to have sesame oil for this mixture recipe. And then, of course, oyster sauce as well. And then good old salt and pepper mixture. And then to top it off, we're going to do chicken eggs. So chicken eggs, as opposed to quail eggs, because I got scared with quail eggs. They're delicious, they're absolutely delicious, but I went to go heat up my bao, my Khalah Bao, the Lao steamed sweet buns, last night for a late dinner. And although I had cut it in half, one of the quail eggs was not cut in half, and so it exploded in the microwave and completely startled me, startled Charlie Poo. Poor Charlie Poo, he was just so scared because of the burst. And so we're going to do the chicken egg, and we'll cut it in half. That way, when we go to reheat it in the microwave, if you were to save these buns, it's not going to explode and scare you or anybody who doesn't even know that you're heating these things up. So let's go ahead and put all the ingredients together. I'll just dump the chives in here. We're going to do, that's about 1/2 teaspoon of sesame oil. That is 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and then we're going to do a 1/4, whoops, that's kind of 1/2 teaspoon of oyster sauce. And it looks like a lot of sodium for such a small portion, but keep in mind you're going to put leafy greens in there, and then also the tree ear mushrooms, which will absorb a lot of the sodium. So that way it just, the sodium and the savoriness will be well saturated throughout the mixture. So let's go ahead and cut up our tree ear mushrooms. I want to make sure you pat it dry, simply because there's already enough moisture in here. And see how floppy these are? These look like rat's ear cartilage. There you go. Ear. And you can stack them like how I'm doing here. However way you want to do this, put that aside for now. And just, slice them up into little chunks. Right. So just coarse chunks. I would say that is about half a cup of tree ear mushrooms right there. We've got our bok choy leaves, and we're just going to take the leaves. And if you are interested in this recipe with the greens and the proteins and the mushrooms, you can also use spinach, frozen or fresh spinach if you don't have access to bok choy. And if you use frozen spinach, make sure you thaw it and then squeeze out the excess liquid. But there you have it. Stick that in there. We're just going to mix that with hand. And I've got my gloves. Okay. Ooh, I can smell the leafy green of the bok choy, but also the sesame oil. Just smells heavenly. And we can't forget white ground pepper. That is like the magical ingredient. So let me just grab white ground pepper right here. This is a very pungent, earthy, like a spicy scent, but it just absolutely adds an abundance of flavor to this mixture. You don't need a whole lot because it's very strong. That is probably a quarter teaspoon right there. Wow, I can smell it already. It just, oh my gosh, smells delicious. That's perfect. Voila. Yummy! With my beautiful gloves. We are almost done. We just have the eggs and the sausages left to cut up. We're going to come down to the counter and just take care of that right now. So I am going to make a total of 4 steamed buns. I've got the 2 eggs cut in half. These are not exactly hard-boiled eggs, as you can see, which is perfect because again, you're going to be steaming them in the buns, so those soft boiled or semi-soft, semi-hard boiled eggs are going to actually cook some more. So does it really matter if you hard boiled them or not? No, it doesn't. And then for the sausages, these are cooked. So these are cooked Chinese sweet sausages I got at the Asian store. So I'm just going to put them in the same bowl with the eggs. And you can cut them as thin as you'd like, completely up to you. You can even out the proportions because there's going to be 4 total buns. And so how many sausages do you want? Keep in mind the amount of the pork and bok choy mixture. All right. Ta-da! Okay, so we're going to set that aside and get the buns ready. Wow, so this has doubled in size, and we're going to put on the gloves again. I like wearing the gloves when I'm mixing or handling moistured dough or wet dough because these gloves, these rubber gloves, actually prevent them from sticking to your fingers. Okay, so we're going to bring this all out. You'll want to flour your surface a little bit. Okay, so we're going to cut these into 4s. So we'll just go half and half. in half again. So we've got 4 here. And then what we're going to do is move these aside. And I've got Thor's hammer, and we're just going to flatten this and just roll it. Now you can use a rolling pin to make it round. However you want to do this, or with your hands like this. You know, I'm not going for an award or the Blue Ribbon Prize in making my dough, my buns. There. And you know, since we're only doing 4, we're going to divide this into 4s as well. Again, doesn't have to be perfect. Do the sausages. I think this one's going to be a giant bao, like that, right? And there's many ways of folding this. And again, this is really all up to you. I don't have the skills to do this like they show it in the Chinese restaurants or the dim sum, and it just looks so beautiful. Mine is not that beautiful, but it is okay, right? It is okay. And then we have parchment paper that I clipped into little segments, and we'll just put it there. Set it aside because we're going to put it in the steamer behind me. And I'm kind of in a rush to do this because I'm hungry, so I'm just going to flatten it with my hands. Right. And what I've done here was I basically took, I pulled it up and then I twisted it like that. So pull out and twist, pull out and twist, pull out and twist, pull out and twist, pull out and twist. There, that one looks a lot better than the first one, but there. Okay, so again, we're going to pull out. You can either fold or you can twist. Pull out, pull over and twist, pull out, and then twist, pull out, twist. See, there's a little hole there, but you can seal it. Pull out and then twist, pull out and then twist, pull out, twist, and then this remaining one, twist. My beautiful, imperfect buns. Okay, so here is the steamer. Ooh. Now these will actually increase because it's leavened dough, so it'll expand. You'll want to give it some space. And into the steamer it goes. Ooh, I'm so excited. Let's take a quick look at these. Ooh, yummy. Look at that. So we're just going to take, ooh, be careful, these are still hot. And I have my individual cute little dilapidated but delicious dumpling. All right, so in peeling away the bread, ooh, it's just perfect. Look at that. Ooh, beautiful. Smells of sesame oil and yumminess. Remember earlier when I mentioned that these are called steamed buns as opposed to dumplings, even though when we wrapped them like dumplings. But think about buns as in hamburger and buns for the hamburgers. Hamburger buns have meat and yumminess inside. It's cut in half, but these are cut to the other half. So think of these as buns as opposed to the dumplings like wonton dumplings. And the difference really between buns and dumpling is bun is doughy and bready, whereas dumplings are thinner sheets, and then you put the meat mixture in there, and then you just kind of seal it up and then wrap it up like a dumpling. So these are not dumplings. These are steamed buns, Khalah Bao, or Lao steamed sweet buns with yumminess inside, as you can see. And it has chicken eggs as opposed to the exploding quail eggs, in which Charlie Poo doesn't like. So thank you so much for joining me tonight. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you for watching and subscribing and liking and commenting on Paulina's Global Flavors. I'm going to enjoy this and let you all go. Have a good night.